All right, ladies and gentlemen. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. Today is Friday, December the 16th, 2022. We only have 15 days remaining in the year, and we want to make sure that we end 2022 real strong, or like my hood figure say, real strong. So if you're coming on live, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know your boy Ramonepreston, my entire squad, and the Ramonepreston Show. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta on this beautiful Friday, December the 16th, 2022. It's been an extraordinary week. For those of you that have been following us throughout this week, we've been doing a lot of talking on making the wealth decision, scheduling your day, really revisiting your dreams and goals, and putting good plans together, not just for the next year, but for the next 2 to maybe 4 years. Me personally, my main focus right now is on the next 4 to 14 years of my life personally. And for me, when I'm able to go out 14 years like I am this current year and reverse engineer it and come back, it just makes life easy for me. So anyway, we've talked about those things all week, and today I want to talk about your tax savings program. So do me a favor real quickly, if you're on live, even if you're not live, I want you to hit the like button, hit the share button, tag somebody if you're on a platform that you can tag and share. If you're not, if you're just listening or watching, I want you to text somebody and let them know you got to join the Ramonepreston Show today, because he's talking about your tax savings program. Your tax savings program. Also, I want you to put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. Put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. I would love to know, because today we're talking about your TAX savings program, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that in just a moment. So put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from. I love to know where you're watching the show from. I appreciate all of you for joining the show, for supporting the show. We have so many amazing people. When we had our team meeting and my son was telling me all the numbers and analytics, my son is our social media content creator, social media manager. Shout out to my son, RP2, as we await RP3. But he was giving us the numbers and the stats and the analytics and metrics behind all of our social media platforms and how things are going. And he was saying the same thing, that, man, people really love the show. People watch the lives. We get a lot of good feedback. And so I appreciate all of you for supporting the Ramonepreston Show. Now, just in case you don't know, let me stop, pause, and clause and say officially, welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. My name is Ramonepreston. I'm the host of the Ramonepreston Show. Every Monday through Friday, I show up here along with my squad, my team, and we provide information with you on this show, and provide information to you and for you on this show that you can use to properly start, properly structure, and at some point properly scale any business, any ministry, any income stream. So if you have certain things that you are anticipating to do for 2023 with regard to your finances, your business, or some type of ministry endeavor, the information that I share with you on this show is designed to help. I'm a business and financial consultant, real estate consultant. My wife is a real estate professional. She consults with me as well. We have 19 years of full-time entrepreneurial experience. We have built a 7-figure organizational enterprise. We are 7-figure millionaire moguls. And guess what? We have a goal. We have a dream to become billionaires. And that means we have a goal and a dream to create millionaires. One man once said, if you want to be a billionaire, figure out the easiest way or the quickest way to create millionaires. And that's one of the reasons why our signature programs are millionaire-minded programs. We have a Millionaire Blueprint, which is an online business and financial training program. We have a millionaire mentorship program, which is our coaching program. Both of those programs are one-year programs that my team and I, we do deep dives, and we take a year to work with you personally, professionally, and financially. And we have a lot of success stories to prove that these programs work. And of course, we have other programs, but I'll talk about that at another time. Today, I want to talk about this program, your tax savings program. That's what I want to talk about today. Now, we only have 2 weeks remaining in 2022, okay? And one of the things that I and my team like to focus on, at least the last month of the year, is helping our clients and our students and the people who are in our community, helping you create and implement and execute the best tax savings programs. Now listen, I'm not a tax strategist. I'm not a CPA. I am by no means attempting to even assume any of those professional, sophisticated roles. I'm just an entrepreneur, a 19-year entrepreneur, by the way, who wants to maximize my profits and minimize my taxes and create wealth and financial freedom for myself and for my family. And so because I have that mindset, I have tax strategists, I have CPAs, I have the experts and the professionals that I work with, and I have done a lot of research and studying, and I've developed enough information and knowledge and practice and strategies and solutions and formulas to know that when you are a business owner, or when you are a 1099 contractor, or when you are a W-2 employee, that you have one major problem, and that problem is your taxes. As a matter of fact, the reason why you need a tax savings program, especially before you move into a new calendar year, is because, please, I want you to hear this. Your taxes are the biggest expense you will have throughout your entire life. I don't know if you know that, but your taxes are by far your biggest expense. And here's the thing. Your taxes are expenses that you're going to have for the rest of your life. This is an expense that doesn't disappear. You may be able to mitigate it. You may be able to lower it. You may be able to eliminate it, but you're eliminating it because it exists. So there's no such thing as non-existence. It exists. It's just that you have figured out the most creative ways to eliminate it, to mitigate it, and to lower it. As a matter of fact, your biggest expense is taxes. Okay? By far. Your biggest expense is taxes. Your second biggest expense, just in case you don't know, this is number one right here, taxes. Your second biggest expense is housing. Your third biggest expense is transportation. And if I had to give a fourth and a fifth, which I don't really want to get into that particular conversation today, but if I had to give a fourth and fifth biggest expense, I would have to say number 4 is ignorance, and number 5 ultimately is fear. Now I want you to see this, because all of this plays into you creating a successful tax savings program, okay? I want you to see that. Now, who is this for? Who is this for? This is for the W-2 employee. This is for the 1099 contractor. This is for the EIN business owner. This is for all 3 categories. So if you are a W-2 employee, if you're a 1099 independent contractor, or a business owner, or a minister, a preacher, it don't matter who you are. I talk to people from all areas, and I have clients in all areas, and I'm telling you, it doesn't matter which financial category you're in, which income category that you are in, you still need a tax savings program. And what that means is you have to have some short-term and long-term objective and step-by-step process that you're able to use, you're able to learn and grow and educate yourself and become better at lowering your tax liability while ultimately maximizing your profitability. Okay, it's just as simple as that. So before we get into those details, let's look at what your biggest expense is. Your biggest expense, and this one big expense that you're going to have throughout your entire life is, number one, taxes. Taxes is the biggest expense that you're going to have. Point blank period. W-2 employees have that problem. 1099 contractors have that problem. EIN business owners, they have that problem. And again, the only difference between people who are in these categories when it comes to this biggest expense of taxes is how they put together successful tax savings programs and how they learn and educate and develop and grow and implement and execute these things that they start putting together. Okay, and that's what we want to do for you. And you don't want to wait until next year to do it. Because if you have a potential tax liability, or if you don't know that you have a potential tax liability, that's even worse. Because if you don't know if you're going to owe taxes or not next year, you probably owe taxes next year, especially if you've had income coming in. So that means you're down here with the other problems. So again, we got taxes as the first biggest expense that we all have. Housing is the second biggest expense, and that's getting higher as well. Transportation is the third biggest expense, and that's getting higher. But these last two are very subtle because you don't see ignorance and fear necessarily on your pay stub. You don't see ignorance and fear on your profit and loss statement. You don't see ignorance and fear in your operating agreement. You don't see ignorance and fear in your company manual. You don't see those things. It's easy to see the housing and the transportation and the lifestyle expenses. Sometimes people don't even pay attention to the taxes. That's why most people pay too much in taxes. However, housing, transportation, and then we got ignorance and fear. And we've got to fix this problem. And the only way you can fix this problem is by putting together a program, something that can help you at least tackle the first and most important and biggest expense that you have. So again, if you are a W-2, 1099, EIN business owner, this applies to you the same way all across the board. I would love to know while you're watching, which financial category do you fall into? Do you fall into the W-2 financial category, the 1099, or the EIN business owner? Or maybe you fall into all three, but I would love to know. Just put in the comments very quickly. Let me know what financial category do you fall into. Let me know what financial category you fall into. Do you fall into W-2? Okay. This is financial category. Do you fall into the W-2 category? Do you fall into the 1099 category? Or do you fall into the EIN business owner category? All right, I would love to know. So that means if you don't have a business and you're a W-2 employee, or if you have a business and you're a W-2 employee, then you should be putting W-2 and or not 1099 or EIN. 1099 is the independent contractors. You're a real estate agent, you're an insurance agent, you might just be a freelancer, you're self-employed, you're a sole proprietor, you're doing business as, but you don't have a corporation set up, okay? You might be in ministry, you're a traveling evangelist, you have an outreach ministry or preaching ministry, but you don't have a nonprofit 501c3. And then that's 1099, and then you're an EIN. Now, a lot of people like me who have EIN businesses still have different levels of 1099 income that comes in. So my wife and I, even though we have companies, we have a 501c3, we have LLCs, so we're EINs. That's the main category of our organization. But we also have 1099 income. So that means when we do our taxes every year, we are taking into consideration not just business income that's coming in, but we're also taking into consideration 1099 income that's coming in, which for tax purposes a lot of that is going to be treated differently. But again, it all plays into what type of program that you have. So I want to know very quickly, if you can, for you to put in the comments, what category, what financial category do you fall into? 1, 2, or 3 of the financial categories, okay? I would love to know that, all right? Now, if you fall into the W-2 category, it's a little easy for you to at least know what your current or future potential tax liability is, because you have pay stubs. And all you have to do is look at your pay stubs. They're going to show year-to-date taxes that you've paid, and it makes it easier. Okay, it makes it easier for you to know it and for you to see it. The problem with just being a W-2 employee who only makes W-2 money, but who is not financially literate when it comes to taxes. The problem with that as a W-2 employee is you're probably paying too much in taxes. As a matter of fact, studies show that every year, this is studies, this is statistics, this is real data that has been put together. Every year, the average W-2 employee, pays anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 too much in taxes. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that the average W-2 employee pays anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 too much in taxes? So this is easy math, okay? Let me show you how. Because let's say if on the low end, the average person pays $2,000 too much in taxes. The high end is $4,000. The median would be about $3,000. So all you have to do is take $3,000 and divide it by 12. So that means the average person who works a W-2 job probably pays $250 a month too much in taxes. Now, to hold true to this, all you have to do is look at your pay stub for 1 month and see how much federal taxes, at least. How much federal taxes? Because even if you readjust your W-4 form, you're not going to be able to get rid of the state taxes. Most likely you'll be able to do the federal taxes if you readjust your W-4. But my point is, even if you just look at your federal taxes, how much federal taxes are you paying every month? Now, if you had a tax savings program, if you were educated about taxes, if you understood how to lower that tax liability while creating opportunities to maximize your profitability, which is the game, y'all, even on a W-2 employee level. But again, if the average is $3,000 that people pay too much every year in taxes, that means every month you're giving up $250 that you worked for. So imagine if that's $3K, that's the median, $3K a year. If you're a W-2 employee, and this is really going to have a lot to do with how much you're getting paid. See, I've sat down with clients. I have documented proof and receipts, and some of them watch my show so they can attest to it. They might not want to tell their business, but I have clients that I've sat down with, and when we just looked at their W-2 income and we looked at what their tax liability was on their W-2 income, we realized, I've had clients that we've realized they were paying $2,000 to $3,000 a month in federal taxes that they didn't necessarily have to pay if they had the right financial strategy. So think about it. Like, I've had clients that have paid $1,000 too much a month in taxes. That's an average of $12,000 a year. I've had clients to pay $200 a month too much. That's an average of $2,400 a year. So whether it's $3,000 a year, $2,500 a year, $10,000, $12,000 a year, all of this is money that throughout the calendar year as a W-2 employee, you can be bringing home. You can be bringing home, not in gross, but you can push it through gross, through the liability in the middle, to to your net and take home that money, and you could start moving that money into things that can accelerate your financial freedom and that can give you some future financial stability. Now, in order for you to do that, you have to have what? You have to have information. It goes back to 2 of the 5 biggest expenses you have. Most people who I'm talking about right now on the W-2 level, they do nothing about their tax liability because of this, because of ignorance and because of fear. Point blank, period. Did you know that 99% of the federal tax code is devoted to tax exemptions and credits? 99%. So I think it's something like 75,000 pages or something like that in the federal tax code, and literally like 99% of it is devoted to tax exemptions and tax credits, basically. So why is this group of people paying $2,000 to $4,000 average? Because remember, if you're making 80 grand a year, 150, if you up there in those numbers, that average ain't $3,000 a year. That average is higher. But why is that so? Because this group of people, typically, they don't have this. They don't have education and information or a program. They don't have something put together concise enough and clear enough that they have the confidence and the courage and the consistency to commit to. And they don't have it, so that means they're ignorant of it. And I say that respectfully. And if you're ignorant about something, most likely you're going to be fearful about something. Like even when I talk to my tax strategist and my CPA, and I talk to other CPAs and people who are in that field, they almost always tell me that in order for you to really use that 74 plus thousand page tax code to your advantage, you have to be knowledgeable, and you have to have people who are very knowledgeable. So again, one of the recommendations that I always make is that when you start, for lack of a better way of explaining it, when you start playing the tax savings game, minimizing taxes, maximizing deductions and stuff like that, and increasing profits and decreasing liabilities, when you start playing that financial game, you want to make sure that you're getting educated, and most importantly, you want to make sure that you are hiring professional people. You're hiring certified public accountants, people who specialize in helping you, and there are tons of them. There are tons of them. So of course, there are a lot of social media gurus and internet, influencers who are just entrepreneurs, who are just salespeople and marketers like myself who are on social media. But I'm not claiming to do this stuff for you. I don't provide the service of a CPA. I don't provide the service of a professional tax strategist. I am just that entrepreneur who will pay those people to add to what I'm already learning and developing, to confirm it, to validate it, to verify it, to solidify it, and then I come back and I share a lot of the successes and the knowledge with you, okay? So again, if you're a W-2 employee, the average is at least $3,000 a year that you're paying too much in taxes. So that means you need a tax savings program. You want to figure out what the best route is that you need to take now before you get into the calendar year. So this group of people, they're really not necessarily in trouble, because remember, when February comes, this group of people, they're going to be getting a what? An income tax what? An income tax refund. Now, I'm from the hood. I'm a little ghetto, rough around the edges, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I call it the hood lottery. I call it the hood lottery because a lot of people who come from communities that I come from, they don't have this. They don't have tax savings programs. They don't have information. They don't have education. It's not that they don't have access to it. They don't have it. A lot of people that come from where I come from, they don't have it. I didn't grow up with information about these things. I don't think I've ever heard people growing up talking about this stuff. The only thing we talked about was, hey, I'm getting that money tax time. So I started calling it the hood lottery because it's like a lottery. So around the month of February or March of every year, you've got what, 99% of communities that are getting these big windfalls. They get 6,000, they get 5, they get 9, they get 10,000. But what happens is, because they are, and I say this respectfully, ignorant of financial principles and concepts. They are ignorant of financial literacy, which means that they are fearful to change their financial habits. They're fearful to, let's say, readjust their W-4 forms and lower their tax bill and start moving into some level of entrepreneurship so that they can increase their profits. They're fearful of that because they're ignorant of that. Are you understand what I'm saying? So if you're a W-2 employee and you're in that criteria of people that I'm talking about, I want to pull you out of that. And you got 2 weeks, and you can learn a lot in 2 weeks, at least to prepare yourself for 2023. And so with this program, with this tax savings program, this is something you're putting together, but it starts with you getting access to the right information. I have a lot of courses that I teach on creative tax strategies, on lowering your tax bill, business deductions, write-offs, on how to use QuickBooks and financial management systems. I have courses on the ABCs of financial literacy, teaching you about accounting, about balance sheets and cash flow. I have creative cash flow strategy courses to show you new creative ways to make new money. I even have courses on sales and marketing and entrepreneurship and business ownership, because all of these things are going to be needed to be a part of your tax savings program. Because again, your tax savings program is really designed to help you tackle this, your biggest expense, which is that, taxes. So while you're tackling that, meaning that once you get the information and you start putting it to practice. See, what I like to do with a lot of my clients and students too is I like to tackle the issue with a strategy. So like, for example, if you're a W-2 employee, because that's the category I'm talking about right now. If you're a W-2 employee and you've never readjusted your W-4, or you just don't know how to do that stuff, and you're like, man, I'm scared, I don't want to deal with that. Well, the first thing I would do if you were my client is I would give you strategies on how to do that, so that you can immediately, at least within the next pay period or so, start seeing more new income come in on your take-home pay. Now, but with that strategy, we're going to complement it with education, because now I want to start educating you on the things you need to do to follow up from that decision. Because what happens is, I've seen it so many times, W-2 employee readjust their W-4, they lower their tax liability, they have more take-home pay, but they don't do nothing else. And so they go the whole year and they're not paying taxes because they're not withholding enough. But then they get to tax time, and then the tax person tells them, oh, wow, surprisingly, you ain't getting no return. You're actually owing. And now you're mad at the tax person. You mad at somebody that gave you a booklet on something, or the network marketer who told you how to do this. You can't be mad at them. You should have taken that strategy and put a program together to complement that strategy with education, with accountability, with daily practices. If you don't want to do this stuff, all right, you're just not going to win financially. It's just simple as that. All this other crap you thinking about, if that's you, like, you know, some Brinks bag gonna fall out the sky. You're going to wake up one day and get into prayer, and after you come out of prayer, I'm not saying certain miraculous things don't happen and won't happen or can't happen. But what I'm saying is, and I mentioned it even yesterday on one of my lives, you can't live your life depending on, you know, these magical moments. It's crazy. It's like living your life on panic, living your life on code red. Who wants to live like that? Living up under that kind of pressure can kill you. So if you're a W-2 employee and you just need direction, you need to put a solid program in place, and you don't want to go into a new year doing the same thing, then I'm talking to you and I really want to help you with that, okay? So now let's look at the 1099. the 1099. If you are a 1099 contractor, now is the time for you to implement certain strategies like my 10 steps to lower your tax liability strategy. Like, I have one of my courses in my program is called Creative Tax Strategies. And in that course, I have certain modules that I teach you 10 ways to lower your tax bill. Those 10 steps, rather, should be used now. You should be going through each of those 10 steps before you get into 2023. Why? Because if you don't know how much money you made this year and how many expenses you had and how much net profits were left as a 1099 or as a business owner, if you don't know what that number is, how do you know what to do in terms of what your tax bill might be? You have to know this stuff now, because if you get into 2023 and you're a 1099 or you're a business owner and you go to a CPA, let's say in February or March around your tax time, and they tell you, okay, well, give me your books, give me your numbers, and you give them your books and your numbers, and they tell you, oh, wow, you're going to be owing $12,000. What's going to happen? You're probably going to be mad and upset at yourself, at them. You're going to blame Ramonepreston because you took a course, or you're going to blame the network marketer that you went to a meeting to and they told you to do A, B, and C and you did it, but that was it. You can't blame nobody for your own irresponsibility. You can't blame nobody for your own inconsistency. You have to be willing to take responsibility now. And one of the things that the CPA is going to tell you, hey, sorry, you can't go back into last year and fix it. Meaning that while you're in the current year, you need to fix it. You don't wait till you get to the next year, start putting paperwork together and realize you owe $8,000 in taxes and say, oh, you know what? I forgot. I spent $4,000 doing this. Oh, you could have wrote that off. Can I write it off? Well, I don't know where the paperwork is, or whatever. Or you might have some free money that you could do something with now to lower that bill. You got to do this stuff now. All right. So if you're 1099, you really, like, this is the hardest, like this group here, that group, the 1099 group suffers sometimes more than the W-2 group, unfortunately. The reason why 1099 people suffer just as much or even more than the W-2 group is because of this. Most 1099 people are W-2 minded. Do you understand what I'm saying? Most 1099 people are W-2 minded. So when you are a 1099 and you're W-2 minded, a lot of times you're paying just as many taxes on the back end as this person, W-2, is paying on the front end, because you're never doing what a financially literate individual is supposed to do. And that's why I tell people, if you're planning on becoming a business owner or an independent contractor and you're a W-2 employee, don't fire your boss just because some salesperson told you to do it on the internet. Oh, you need to fire your boss. You need to own your own. Well, that's only if you have some type of program in place. That's only if you have a real financial plan in place. That's only if you know strategies and solutions and you've implemented them in your personal and in your business life. If you haven't, you better stay your behind there. You better wait until you get it together. You better not make that move. And so if you're 1099, you need to figure out your income and expenses for the year, you know, the gross and total, and then you need to look at what the net profits are. That's why I put that 10 step to lower your tax training together in that creative tax course, because I want to show you there's several steps you need to take. And you're going to have to take those steps from year to date, January 1 up to now. And then you're going to have to start fleshing out, because what a lot of 1099 people do is, because they don't have a real business, they're using their personal income to live, and they're really not thinking about what are they actually spending money on that's actually a business expense that's legitimate because they're 1099 contractors. They're not thinking about that. So they don't have a QuickBooks, they don't have a Mint.com account, they don't have no financial management account, whatever the one it is that you use. They don't track their income and expenses. They're just not thinking intelligently about their business. All right, and you need to do that. And then we have the EIN, the business owner. Okay, if you're a legitimate business owner and you have a company, well, similarly, you should already be using, if you own a business, let me just be the one to tell you this, because I know everybody that's in any of my programs done heard me say this before. If you're a business owner and you have no idea how QuickBooks work or how financial management systems like QuickBooks work, I already know you're either owing taxes or you're so behind already, you don't even know where to hit the reset button at. I already know it, because there's just no way you're going to be on top of a tax savings program, strategy, plan, or nothing, and you do not have some type of technological platform, a system that you're using to track all your income and expenses. It's no way. There's just no way you have it all together. I know you don't have it together. You can't convince me that you have it together, because if you went to a CPA, what you gonna do? Bring a CPA a box of papers like we used to do 20 years ago? When me and my wife started our first business, we had a CPA who put our business together. A good friend of ours. He put our business together. He was a certified public accountant. He worked from his home, so he was very strategic. He was very detailed. He was, he was like a boutique guy. He didn't want to grow big. He just wanted to get all his little tax breaks and have his little home office, and I respected that. But this was around 2006 and 2005, 2006. But here's the thing. When we would go to his house during tax time, we would bring these folders, and they used to have folders with months, slivered months in them. So you have this big folder that you can open up like a harmonica type thing. You open it up and you got January through December. And every month we just stack those receipts and put them in there. Then we'll go to his office and then we'll pull them all out, and then we'll start calculating, okay, January we spent this much, February we spent that much. Then we do all the calculations. He put it in his system and he says, well, here's what you're gonna owe. Do you have any other things? And then we'll go home and try to figure out, okay, let's look at our bank account. These are things that we did. That's not how we operate in 2022. A lot of this stuff needs to be tracked every day, every week, every month of every year. That's how it needs to be tracked. Like right now, this is because I've been doing it for a long time, and I have staff and I have people who work for me and with me on these things now. But I could go to my QuickBooks account. I have a couple QuickBooks accounts. I think I have about 4 or 5 now. And 2, I'm working on 2 new ones. But I could go to any of my QuickBooks accounts. Maybe 2 I can't do it because I haven't been on 2 of them for the past month or so, because I've been working on the other ones, doing some forecasting. But just to make it make sense to you, I can go to my QuickBooks account and I can click report year to date from January 1 to December 16th, and I can see how much money came in, how much money was spent, and how much money was left. And that can help gauge what my potential tax liability will be when I file the paperwork for that particular entity. If you're not able to do that and you're a business owner, if you're EIN business owner, what that means is you have not put together a tax savings program. You haven't integrated that and implemented and executed it along with the other things that you're doing. So if I'm talking about you, I don't want to just talk about you and not give you a solution. I don't want to highlight all your problems and not give you a solution. I have a solution. Now, the best solution for you would be for you to give me and my team an opportunity to sit down with you, to coach you, or maybe to consult you. So I'm a business consultant, I'm a business coach, right? So we have a coaching program, but I also have consulting services. I have a consulting program for people who really don't want the coaching feel and the coaching environment. You don't want to be on weekly calls. You don't want to sit in workshops every quarter. You don't want assignments, and you don't want that type of accountability because you might not need it. But maybe you need consulting. You just need someone to chime in with you and maybe the few people that work with you to help make sure that your infrastructure is right, your systems and processes and your policies and procedures and all of the details for your operating system are correct. We have a program for that. But on whatever level that you think you need, even if you don't know what level of support and help you need, I want to at least get on the phone with you and let's see where you are and what exactly are you doing so that you can figure out what the best route it is that you need to take before this year is out, especially if you are a 1099 or a business owner and you really don't have a grip on what your tax bill is going to be. You don't know how much you're going to owe. You don't know where to start. You do not want to leave this year with that pressure and that burden. Let's relieve that from you. Let's show you that there is a way that you can mitigate and eliminate the stress, the problems, and the biggest expense by far. So all you have to do is text me. Don't let this year go out because you concerned about, man, I ain't paying no money for no coaching. I ain't paying no money for no online courses. I've already done that and I got scammed or I got gypped out of money. Well, maybe you just had the wrong person. Okay? Google my name. Go to Ramonepreston.com and take a look at all of my programs. Look at all of my prices. Everything that we offer under our company and the prices that we have for the things we offer under my company, you can see all of that on Ramonepreston.com. You can see what my programs are, how long they are, what the benefits and the details are, what you can expect in each program, what the prices are, and then you can just reach out to me and say, hey, listen, I've seen enough to at least have a conversation with you, but I have 2 or 3 more questions. Like, we get people doing that every day. We get people who will text millionaire to this number, 404. There's no obligation. It ain't no pressure. Okay? You ain't obligating yourself. You ain't in no contractual agreement, but we get people every day to text this word millionaire to us. One of the reasons why we use the word millionaire, because 2 of our signature programs are millionaire minded programs. Our Millionaire Blueprint online course training program, our Millionaire Mentorship, even though we have other programs. But we get people every day. They'll text millionaire because I want you to be a millionaire. I want to start shaping your mind to become a millionaire. And when they text it, guess what happens? We call you back. And when we call you back, thank you for texting. Congratulations on even considering becoming a millionaire and changing your life. All right. And then we'll ask you a couple questions to get an idea of where you are. You might have a few questions. We get people every day to do that. Once we call back, they say, hey, listen, I just had 2 questions I wanted to ask. Okay, what's your question? Here's my question number 1. Here's my question number 2 or number 6 or number 3, whatever. We answer the question. We give you some direction on what you need to do based on what questions you ask, and you make the decision whether or not we have programs and services that can make your life better. Simple as that. I'm all about results. If I can't help you get results, I ain't wasting my time with you, and I don't want you to waste your time with me. But we've got a lot of proof. All you have to do is go to my Google review page, Ramonepreston Enterprises. Pull it up, you'll see we got Google reviews. These are people, all of the people on there. It's not like I got all of my cousins and my kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews to go leave a review. These are people who, I don't even know until I met them through our business. And they're telling you how our programs and how our services are working. So I would love to have an opportunity to speak with you. And again, if you're already in some of our courses or programs, you definitely need to go back and revisit a few of our main courses, like our creative tax strategies. Maybe you just need to start going through some of those other courses, like the ABCs of financial literacy, creative cash flow strategies, the income ladder of success. Those are courses that really start shaping your mind about money educating you about the fundamentals of financial literacy. And then you could start the entrepreneurship courses. We have 2 or 3 major courses on entrepreneurship. We got courses on systems and processes and everything that you need, but you got to start somewhere. So I want you to start right here on YouTube. Hey Kelly, what's up, girl? I see you. Carnell, peace to you, bro. Grand rising to you as well. Carnell said, if we follow this, he's going to make us millionaires. In my opinion, it's the least we can do to show daily gratitude as part of manifesting our future. My man said, these programs and prices cannot be beat. This is somebody I have never laid physical eyes on, but he's a part of our program. He's saying this. These are my opinions and I'm not getting paid to do this. I just don't want anyone to be in doubt and miss the opportunity. Like, the day is going to come. We're going to have probably tens of thousands of people on our Millionaire Blueprint program, in our training and education programs and our mentorship programs. And at that point, it's a lot of people who kind of still like, you know, drifting on the sidelines. They're going to be like, oh my God, I could have already been so far away. So when you hear about the Carnells and many others who are in our ecosystem becoming millionaires and having successful businesses, and they are financially free, and they're all on stages or on their own shows or in front of cameras or on live, saying all of this happened because there's a guy in Buckhead, Atlanta that had this amazing training program called the Millionaire Blueprint, or the Millionaire Mentorship Program. And I got all of this from him and it worked, and I'm where I am today because of that. Then you'll be like, okay, I should have figured that out. And I don't want that to be you. I know people right now who could be millionaires today if they just listened to me 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when I started really going public with a lot of this information, and I started drafting and crafting like my curriculum and my content, and I launched my online university in 2019. That's like 3.5 years ago when I launched it. I had a lot of people that was at least close enough to get that information up front, you know, like for little to nothing. Some people, I was just giving it to them. They could be so far along right now. But guess what? It is what it is. I don't want that to be your story. So just text Millionaire to 404-478-7213. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining the show today. Be sure to put in the comments what your biggest takeaway was from today's show. And you know we're going to be back here Monday. We'll be back here Monday, 12 o'clock noon, Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Ramonepreston Show. So until Monday, have an amazing weekend. Go out there, crush it. Do some big things so you could come back with some success stories and testimonies and praise reports on how amazing your weekend was. I'll see y'all Monday, 12 o'clock noon, right here.